Hello, everyone. This is the Awareness Film Festival. I just want to welcome everybody there. Hi, Kel. How are you?
Hi, Ruby. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Olivia. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I would like to welcome you and everybody watching this Filmmakers Q&A to the Awareness Film Festival. We are in its 11th year, and this festival is sponsored by Heal One World, which is a nonprofit that promotes an alternative healing and holistic healing to disadvantaged communities. And this is a festival that supports so many causes. It is a volunteer-run organization, and we will be talking about your film today regarding the terrible adventure on it. So we would like to welcome you guys here, and I hope you have a great time at the festival for it. So can you tell us, Kel, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and why you decided to make this film?
Sure. Well, that's a big question. You want to? Yeah. Well, I do. Well, I'm a parent, first of all, of the two greatest kids. One of them's with me. One of them's at his mom's today. But I'm a parent. I do photo, video, event production, as well as some filmmaking. I'm in the world of technology and production, and have been, the best part of my career the last 25 years. Getting into photography at 8 years old, buying my first camera and studying it through high school, college, and eventually got a degree in mass communications, which actually comes in handy for things like script writing. And then I went to the Palm Beach Film School here in Florida after getting a job with a major corporate production company. And then from the Palm Beach Film School, I got into filmmaking and editing, and so all those skill sets kind of combined together. I'm also a stand-up comedian. I host an open mic, and that's where it's kind of a comedy feel, comes into play with the terrible adventure. And I'm getting messages from friends that are going to watch the film. But yeah, so the she's on Roblox on the other screen over here. So yeah, that's kind of the background. And then you want me to? What was the other part of the question, or you want to?
Let's just stick with the background right now, and then I'll ask that part of the question afterwards because I want to hear a little bit about Olivia. So Olivia, you're well, this is your dad, but you're also starring in the film, and this is your first time starring as the leading actor in it. Yeah. So. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Olivia?
Olivia. What do you
grade?
Say?
Maybe grade?
Oh, I'm in 6th grade. I just started 6th grade. How specific do you want it?
Well, whatever you want to tell us a little about yourself. I believe you started this started the film 2 years ago, so you were in the 4th grade.
Yes.
For it. So did you? So you're in. Like, what's your favorite? What's something favorite about yourself that you like? That you want people to know about. That's all.
I like to bake. I don't know.
There you go.
That's good enough. So that's a little bit about Kel and Olivia. So a little bit about myself. I'm Ruby Lopez. I'm a producer in TV, films, and video games out in Los Angeles.
Cool.
And I love family films, and I really loved your film for a number of reasons. One of it is it's really well done production wise, and it's a really fun story, and that the kids are really smart. They figure everything out. And while I was watching the film, I have to say, I'm not sure I could have actually figured some of this stuff out. And I know there are kids out there who know how to do all of this stuff that you highlighted in the film. So how did the genesis of this film started? Like, what was the inspiration? Why did you start? How did it come about? Like, how did it get written? And how did it all start?
So it started, I guess, maybe 6 years ago on a family vacation. We went on a cruise, a Caribbean cruise. And we thought that it would be fun to film a movie in all of the different locations that the cruise went to. And we ended up kind of haphazardly throwing together basically sort of a music video, practically like a sizzle reel, is what we kind of ended up. We kind of loosely choreographed and scripted some stuff, and ended up with a real sort of short film or a sizzle. And from there, we just, over the next couple of years, we kept developing the idea, and eventually we outlined it as a family with Olivia and Jackson, and we came up with a 90-point outline, which is our script writing advice from who was my dad just passed away this month, but his agent, he's an author, and his agent had kind of instructed him on how to do screenwriting and come up with the 90 bullet points. So that information was passed on to me. I'd worked with my dad on a screenplay, and myself and my kids ended up outlining 90 bullet points. And then over time, basically the summer of 2018, we wrote the bulk of the script. Well, I wrote the bulk of the script, but my kids had a lot of input.
No, that's an amazing that your script, the genesis of this is actually a family endeavor. That's absolutely amazing. I've never heard that before, and I think that's wonderful that they had input from the very beginning and how this is going to be shaped for it. So for you, Olivia, what was the process like when your dad said, we're going to do this? And did it feel like homework, or was it fun? And did you get right into it right away?
It was pretty fun. I mean, like, it took a little bit for the script to write, but once we started, we started.
Did you guys like sit down, like have a special, like certain date, like a certain day that was like the script writing day, or was it just like, you would come up by, hey, I have this idea, and it just became like very organic, or it was like, we're going to work on this on Saturday for like 4 hours, or
yeah, I don't think it was that scheduled.
For it.
The outline was quite a while ago. I don't remember. I've got a Facebook post, and I've forgotten exactly. I could find the date, but I don't remember exactly. But we ended up taking the large wall Post-its, and we wrote the outline on the wall until we had 90 points. But it was quite a while ago. And then I wrote the bulk of the script, but they read it a lot and loved it. I'm sure they had input. Yeah. I don't remember specifically.
I think you still have the original somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, you took up an entire wall. My gosh, your house was like, must have been like, this wall is just like, I'm going to run out of wall. I would think I'm going to run out of wall soon. So, Olivia, for you, when you were, had to read it, what kind of notes were you giving? Like, what was a note that you gave that you really wanted your dad to, have in the script that you thought was really important?
And to be honest, most of the time I just pointed out grammatical errors. I was just like, wait, should be a comma there.
So your daughter is your editor. That's even better.
She helped all the way through with that. I remember her specifically saying, I just really I think somebody said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And she said, I just want to really solve complicated problems. Anything that's really she was talking about the film, and because we filmed out of order, and we would keep an outline running of what we needed, what we had shot, what we had left to shoot, and how to do it. And I have a great Instagram post where she's on the couch, on the wall, back on the wall, with giant Post-its going, okay, we have to do this, and we have to do this, and we have to do this, and then this. And, in the beginning, she was really the one kind of pulling me into production. She was the one that was really the driving force behind wanting to do the film. I was kind of like, nah, I just want to write it, and then I'll say I've written a feature film, but I'm not sure I was on the fence about actually going into production about it. But she kind of pulled us all into it.
Olivia, you're a budding producer. Good for you.
Thank you.
So with that said, since, she was helping push to get you guys into production, when did you decide to go into production? And what made you say, okay, we're going into production?
I mean, it's kind of a weird story. What was kind of the catalyst for me was when being divorced, when their mom asked me one time if we were going to make the film, and I said, no, we're not. I don't plan on making it. And she said, well, I think it would be a really good experience for the kids. So, you know, and to me, it was like, okay, I'm not going to have a lot of friction between my ex-wife and me trying to get a feature film done. And that was kind of the blessing that I needed to move forward into production. And so that was kind of the point where I said, all right. And I started thinking like, we could do this.
So like now that you decided that, you know, you could do this, how did you go about doing it? Did you have to go raise money? How did you figure out your locations? And like, how did you decide on your casting in the end?
So the money all came out of, you know, my pocket. I self-financed it. And we did it as strict of a budget as we could without cutting too many corners. But my actors and my kids and my lead actors are all on a percentage of any revenue that comes in. So in fact, they even picked up hotel rooms, picked up food, picked up, they helped all along the way, and they haven't been paid, you know. And the locations, we wrote it, you know, for the stars. We went big, but it was all stuff that I knew about. And so I started, you know, wearing my production cap and contacting these places way early on. What's funny?
Where's your hat?
Yeah. And so we just started contacting these places months out, and I would go and do site surveys and visits and talk to people. And eventually we had enough material where we put together what's called, it was a sizzle reel. And that looked really dynamite, you know. And so then I had that as a marketing piece to show to people like Theater of the Sea, and the Conch Republic Air Force, which is down in Key West, where we filmed in the biplane, and the Key West Film Commission to get us, you know, access to film at the southernmost point, and the Castillo. And so I could send that to people, and they would look at that and go, okay, this is legitimate. We're happy to be a part of it. Let us know how we can help. And so most places, you know, that whole biplane scene, we filmed in the hangar for 3 or 4 days. I've forgotten exactly at this point, but we paid for one set of flights. Y'all did like 3 rounds, I think, in the plane. And we rented a second plane.
The Hunchy Munches.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother story. So, and then we rented a second plane from the airport, a guy at the airport, and I was filming in the second plane. And there's one segment that no one will pick up on, but it's one of my favorites because it has a shot of my kids in the biplane, and there's another plane off in the corner, and that's me filming the second shots from that second plane, with me in a little tiny plane shooting out a window, hoping I don't drop my extremely expensive film camera that I purchased for this. And that's just how we did it. We did it fast and furious, and just ran through all of it. A lot of times we only had time to do one take, you know, and we just got it. And then we just kept doing pickups until we got it all right.
Yeah. No, that's incredible that, you know, that a lot of you said that a lot of your shots are in one take, because it doesn't seem like it was done in one take. And that's pretty incredible that you got the performance and the capture the scene when you did, because that's really. I
mean, I don't want to misconstrue that, because my actors will call me out on it. We did a lot of shots a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's just there were some things that we only had the opportunity to get right once, and that, like, shooting air to air, like, I don't think a lot of people know how almost impossible it is to shoot from a Cessna to a biplane. Like, we needed really steady air. We needed a lot of factors to come into play to get a few shots that we could use, and we did. So that's just one place where it's just things lined up and we got it right. And that happened a lot, you know, but a lot of times we did 12 takes.
Yeah, that's honesty here. For you, Olivia, what was it like for you to shoot this movie? Like, especially like in the plane. I mean, I thought that plane scene was like, you know, like wonderfully done. I've never been in one of those kind of planes before. And I'm like, oh my God, it looked fun, but were you scared, or was it like fun in the end?
Excited. I mean, like, you're going up in a plane without a roof. It's once in a life or 3 in a lifetime experience. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
And then for you, what was your favorite scene, or what was the most memorable one?
It was the one with the hang glider. It was my first time going up in a hang glider, so it was really fun.
On there. That's awesome. That's wonderful. And then, like, you were saying, like, you found your actors. How did you find the actors? Did you know them ahead of time, or did you do like a casting for it?
So that's one of my favorite questions. I host an open mic called Marina 84, and that's where a lot of comedians, and there are, award-winning comedians that perform at like the world famous Improv and places like that, and they all work on their craft at small places, what we call open mics. And so hosting that weekly, I got to know and became good friends with a lot of comedians, and almost all of the adults in the film are comedians as well. So that's where I kind of got to know them and asked them. I didn't cast. I asked people that I knew if they wanted to play a part, and they signed on for it.
And then, when you were writing the script, you wanted to focus on climate change and those different concerns. I liked how the fact that you use it as a context which they had to unlock and like learn a little bit about all the different issues going on. How did you weave that concept in? Like, what made you decide to do it in that format?
So good question. And there's a couple different things going on there. I think that my dad had always written for big topics, and I just felt like incorporating the environment and science and things of that nature into the film was a good way to start to. I like things that are multifaceted, where somebody can start to learn a little bit about different things that are going on in the world, but being fun, where it's entertaining, it's not preachy. And the overarching goal really of the terrible adventure, and I don't even think that it's communicated that clearly, or some people might not even understand it, but it's about cultivating leaders, and problem solvers, and people that it's the next generation. Because what I see in the world today, and I think so many do, is a lack of good leadership and in addressing so many of the world's problems. I mean, we've been talking about the environment for so long, and I feel like so little is being done, in respect of so many different things. And I think that it comes down to just a lack of communication. The idea that wars are still being fought, and there's the ocean's still being polluted, and we're still debating if carbon dioxide is good or bad. And the information and facts are now being just politicized, and we're kind of stalling on progress, it feels like. And so the overarching theme is to start to cultivate the next generation of leaders, and allow them to start to formulate their own ideas of which direction the world should be going in.
No, I totally agree with you. That's one of the reasons I loved your ending. It's like, that when the kids are looking at them, that they see themselves as the answer. It's like,
right.
Why are we on screen? It's like, it's like, yes, you're right. It is the next generation that's the answers. It's not like it's totally true, because they're going to live here. They're going to have to figure this out, because unfortunately we've done a lot of things, and previous generations as well have done a lot of things that are not good. So for you, Olivia, what do you think about being the next generation leader and in taking on leadership roles and the environment?
What do you mean? What do I think?
I'm like, you're on your own.
Do you feel like you're a leader? Like, how do you view leadership?
Like everyone else does.
What do you think when you think of a leader? Like, what's your...
Someone who singles out, like, as the leader of the group and leads them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone, I don't know. Everyone organized, like the president. I don't know.
No, that's wonderful. But I think your film and the message in it is like really good, because it's like the responsibility will go on to the next generation, and we as parents and people who interact with the younger generation have to take responsibility in helping them grow to make this world a better place for it. So as we were making this film, what was like something that surprised you in doing it? It could be in your production, or just like that came out of the whole entire process for you.
You're talking to me or him?
Well, either one. The question is for both of you. So whichever one of you wants to take it first. Like, what surprised you about this process?
So for me, I equate, I had only done short film work up until this was my first feature film. And when you do a short film, I equate it to like knowing how to build a house. And then you go to make a feature film and you're building a skyscraper, like it's a whole nother set of skills and knowledge and things that you have to be able to pull off in order to make that skyscraper and make it professional, versus building, something way smaller. So and when you start to build your first skyscraper, you just think, I've seen a lot of skyscrapers. Certainly I can, go ahead, you can close that. Go ahead. You think I can build a skyscraper, and then you start and you get to like floor 2 and you're like, wow, we got a long ways to go until we're through with the skyscraper. It's just a much, much larger process than most people, unless you've made a feature film, will ever understand in order to make something that is comparable to things you might see on Netflix or in theaters. And because ultimately it doesn't matter how you got there. That's what people are going to judge it against, is other films that they see that have $100 million budget, Star Wars with 200 million, ultimately they're going to go, yeah, that was pretty good, but it's not as good as, like even if you're doing a television production, they're used to comparing it to, television shows that have millions of dollars per episode. So that's what you're up against. And, you just have to complete a project that is going to be viewed in the same vein as those bigger budget projects. If you're going to do any good with it in film festivals or, out in the real world, then that's ultimately your goal. So in order to get there, I thought we'd maybe be filming for 3 months. Well, we were filming for like a year. I thought maybe under a year for total production, and it was 2 years, and just everything was really a lot longer and a lot more difficult, to pull it all together than what you see on screen, which hopefully looks enjoyable and simple.
No, it's a very enjoyable movie, and it's like really production value wise, it's very well done for it. And you did some things that especially like since this is like an indie family movie, you did a lot of things that like they say the hardest thing to do is working with kids and animals.
Right.
And it is, and you pull it off very well, in my opinion.
Thank you.
So for your film, where's it going next? What are your plans for it, or have you started? Where would you like it to go?
So we've gotten. We did Dances with Films before this. We've gotten into a number of festivals that we're currently kind of in the festival circuit, which is just a weird, name, because there's 8,000 film festivals.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily for The Terrible Adventure, because it's the most amazing film of 2020. It's already been in Dances with Films and got an Audience Choice Award. Now we're in the Awareness Film Festival. We're in back-to-back Los Angeles film festivals, which we're really excited about. So we're collecting, we're sort of collecting our accolades. And then we've got an agent, we have a publicist, and he's shopping it to the various, distribution companies. And we're looking for distribution ultimately. Some sort of worldwide streaming distribution is the ultimate goal. And we're just connecting the dots until we get there.
Word. And then how did you find the process? Because this is the first time, like you said, you've just done shorts. Now this is your feature. how are you finding the process of being in the festival circuit? How does it feel? Like, is it what you thought it was like, or like have you done festivals before, even with your shorts? And is it
I've done festivals before. I'm pretty familiar with the process. In fact, I was hired by Reggie Ponder with the American Black Film Festival, and I did video work and photography work for him in Miami for 6 years straight. And then I did 2 years of audiovisual work there. I'm 46, so I've been around. I've been around for a couple minutes, but I have been in the Delray Beach Film Festival. I've been in the Fort Lauderdale Film Festival with other films. Fort Lauderdale International Film Festival, and so but this one is the first. By doing those, I realized that you don't just apply to one and just hope for the best. You know, like you have to apply. I think I've applied to 50 or maybe 52 with The Terrible Adventure at this point. Like it's really like, and it's an expensive part, and then like Dancing with Films, like you should hire a publicist. So we did that. So there's more expenses once you get everything done. And it's like, I love film festivals, but it is kind of, when you start to think about it, it's like, okay, I put all this money into a feature film and 2 years of really hard work, doing all the shooting, doing all the editing, whatever the process is for any filmmaker. And then you spend thousands, maybe, I think maybe if I had to guess, maybe $1,000 on the festival circuit. And then they're going to take it and screen it and charge all your family and friends to watch the film, and you still haven't made a penny, you know. So it's really a long process, and I just don't think that the consumers understand how difficult it is, you know, or distributors, or any, for us filmmakers that are just out here really putting it all into getting into these festivals, and we really need the accolades. We need, like, it's not like we need them for a pat on the back. We need them for our marketing campaigns. The festival experience is so important in order for us to be able to go to distributors and say that we've been to these festivals, we've won awards at them, and then they'll take it seriously, because there is actually an abundance of content out there, regardless of COVID and everything else, where it's still hard to get distribution, even with an award-winning feature film. Like it's not like people are just sending me money, you know, and offers, and it's still like, you have to be very diligent in your campaigning, and just when you think you're going to get a little bit of a break, it's like that's when it's kind of go time.
But it sounds like, you know, you were persevering, and this is a wonderful film that you made. It's for a family film, and then so what do you think that in terms of like this experience with doing your first feature, what would you give advice to for somebody who's doing a family feature? Like, you know, what advice would you give to someone like that? Now you've gone through the process.
So what advice would I give to somebody doing a family feature? There's so much advice I could give to somebody doing a family feature. I mean, you're learning to, like, when you're working with kids, they need, like, they can, you know, their window of being able to focus is going to be shorter, you know? So, and, you know, basically you're just taking it one day at a time, you know, and you have to be willing to, you know, if kids, get to a point where they don't want to do it anymore, you have to be able to come back the next day. You know, if kids get cranky, you know, you can get, like, my kids into, like, I always remember we got them into a biplane in Key West, and the guy was being super helpful and giving us the headsets and everything. And then my kids would start poking each other or getting tired or grumpy, you know, and there's not much you can do. You can ask for a couple more takes, but eventually you're going to have to call it a day and just take a break, you know. And that's kind of, I think, what working with kids is. And it's not much different than working with adults, in the respect that, you know, sometimes you got to take a break with adults, or, you know, like, you're just kind of juggling and managing a whole process. And so as far as somebody doing a family feature, I guess I've never done any other features that were not family features. So it's challenging for me to kind of compare the two, you know.
And for you, Olivia, since this was your first feature, what did you like best about it, and what you want, or what you didn't like best about it?
What I liked best was, you know, going everywhere in Florida. I mean, like, it's other places other than where I live. It was fun and interesting and all that stuff. probably the worst part was, I don't know, if you, like he said, if you spend somewhere that long, it can get like another take. No, this was him. Okay, one more take. No, one more take. And that would go on for about 5 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah, or like 50 minutes. Yeah.
So if it keeps going, then it can start getting probably annoying. So that would probably be the worst part.
So that's, I know, like, even like I've been on film sets after like the 10th hour, 12th hour, the 15th hour, I'm done. When is this gonna like end for it? But like, no, so what are you working on? Are you guys working on anything together next, or like, what's your next project?
So we, both of my kids were happy to get into the film, and they're both happy to be done with it after a year and a half of filming. They're kind of both on like a break from production and filming at the moment. And I'm not even focused on a next project. I'm still focused on like my regular work and paying bills after the very large amount that I've spent on this film. And I mean, we did it on a budget, but we still spent quite a bit. And a lot of that was like, when we would go to like Key West or Isle Morada, we'd be there for a few days. So you have to get lodging. And, even though my actors and crew often covered their own hotel, and they split hotels, 3 grown men in a hotel. Like they really went, all out to try to get this done without, us all working together. So as far as where, what's next, right now, I'm really still focused on marketing. I've got the film split into 15 hard drives. I've got 3 complete sets backed up, and I've still got it in my head, like this week, to double check my backups to make sure everything is sufficiently, like in place for when it does go to distribution. And I keep one backup in the bank, just in case like my apartment burns. Like, anything can happen, so I don't even feel like this project is complete. And I am doing my corporate video production work currently. And then I'm going to be marketing myself I have talked to actually two filmmakers who have brought me scripts, but I don't know. One of them might materialize something, and I'm looking for either to market myself to other production companies as any kind of either a producer, director of photography, something in that respect, or to develop my own projects. But I don't intend to develop my own projects unless I get a decent win from this one. So currently I'm in corporate production, back to corporate production, and that's where I'm at the moment. I mean, I could jump into writing another feature film. I've got 3 concepts that I know are great, but I'm not worried about it until there's some money.
No, that's wonderful. And I love the fact that you just said that you have you have a backup in the bank for it. And I think that's actually a good tip for a lot of people is like, make sure you have a backup, because you're right, anything can happen, and some people don't realize that they need multiple backups for it.
It's such a terrifying prospect in filmmaking, is that one lightning strike and your 1.5 years, 2 years of investment could be wiped out, And I mean, I used to travel. I still will. If I have to go somewhere, I might take a copy of my film. Just so I have one on me if a nuclear anything happens, but there's just so many things. I mean, there's floods, there's hurricanes, there's lightning strikes, and it's all ridiculous and it's improbable, but it has happened in the past. And then there's just a hard drive could crash, like I'll never forget, I was in buying a hard drive, and the kid checking me out at Office Depot was like, mine just quit. I woke up and it's gone, and I can't get it to recover. And and it can't, it's rare, but it does happen. And you have to have it in triplicate. I mean, it's a mundane topic, but if you don't have it in triplicate and you only have it doubled and duplicate, then when one goes, you down to 1 copy. Let's say you're plugging that in and you drop it, man, you're out again. So they say if it's not in 3 places, it doesn't exist. That's really, it sucks, because I mean, it's just hard to back everything up in triplicate, but it's important.
So I'm gonna wrap this up, but I did want to ask one more question regarding the film, and it's a personal question for it. What do you, when you you have a favorite moment in the film, like for yourself? Like this is like you love the scene, you loved how it turned out. That this is your favorite. This is like for whatever reason that it's your favorite. Like it could be even the music. It could be like I love this scene because it was the hardest scene, and then it's like perfect lighting. Or I just like the scene because Olivia did so well in this one. So
Yeah. Olivia, do you have a favorite?
I'd like a story or a scene.
A scene.
A scene.
I don't want to take yours if you have one.
Go ahead. It's probably not gonna.
Well, we were just rewatching it, and it's nice because I haven't watched it in at least a couple months now. And the one that stood out to me, it probably isn't my favorite, but it's what I just love it because of the simplicity in its nature, and it's when you do the sip. You know?
Oh, yeah, that has to be. That's probably one of my.
I didn't want to take that one because I thought you'd say it.
Yeah, I probably would have, but I was just like.
Your brain freeze.
Pretty much.
That's when they're on the train, and we got to film at the Gold Coast Railroad Museum in these historic trains, and and there's a ghost train too, like a legitimate like ghost hunters have been there.
A ghost was haunting you when you went in.
Yeah. You want to tell them about that?
Wait, what?
I don't know what you're.
Oh, continue on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would go visit this ghost car that was haunted, and it was weird. It was very weird. But we've lost Ruby. She's like tuned out.
No. Continue.
On to the next interview.
I'm so curious and excited to hear about like this ghost train.
Yeah. Well, they said that if you open the door in this one car, and you have to go like 7 cars deep, and it's a historic, like probably from the early 1900s train. I don't know exactly when, but you have to go way into this really old, musky train that is very ghost-ish no matter what. It's kind of dark and poorly lit. And then they said if you go into this one car and you prop the door open, then it'll close on its own. Yeah, and it didn't. It didn't do that for us, but we got really freaked out. Anyways, you definitely felt like an energy in there.
Yeah, he went in alone, and then we could hear like banging on it.
Yeah, Tell him about that.
Okay, so they were so he went in alone because me and my brother didn't want to, and as he was coming back, we started knocking on the train as he went along. I actually don't think he knew until like a month ago.
I still don't think I know.
Oh, that's awesome. So, you said, Olivia, that's also your favorite scene. And so why is it your favorite scene?
Oh, it was just really fun. Like on this other train, not the ghost one, but it was like me and my brother were inconspicuous. We were very conspicuous. But yeah, I had this like teacup because I was like a samurai or something, and I was just going for an obnoxiously long time, just slurping like, and I wouldn't allow him to break eye contact. I was just like, so yeah. For like a minute straight.
I love it because it was one of those moments where we're on a really hot train, we're filming, everyone's melting, my kids are in costumes on top of their regular clothes, everyone's having a blast. I don't know how, because it's like 97 degrees in the train. It was a sauna, and it just seemed like there were a lot of people around, and it was just, we just slowed down for a second, and I said, I have an idea. Slurp the tea for a long time. I said, just do it. And it's such a simple comedic bit, and it just turned out so funny, and it was one of the easiest, most spontaneous things we put together in the whole film. And it's and I said right when we got done filming it, I said, that's cinematic gold right there. And to me, it still is. Like it's just a wonderfully simple, very funny, eloquent scene.
Oh, that's so wonderful that it's both of yours. I guess were you surprised to realize that you both had the favorite scene?
Well, we were both just dying laughing at it. So that's why it's standing out. I mean, there's so many scenes from halfway through the movie on that I cherish. I cherish so many of them. I think they're all beautiful, well done, came out better than expected. When you're filming scenes, you're not really, especially as a new filmmaker, you're not 100% sure if you're getting all the content that you need or the right shots or the right angles. And sure enough, a lot of times we didn't, and then we'd have to do little pickups of hands or phones in different places. And I mean, even like where he has the harpoon, you know, we reshot part of that in my backyard, and it fits in seamlessly with him being on the boat. And there's just, I mean, one of my favorite parts is a friend. He's Mike Garr, who's the mechanic, the Hispanic mechanic in the movie, and he was watching it, and he goes, man, he hadn't seen the movie, and he goes, this is great scene after great scene, you know. And that's I feel like almost all the scenes are really awesome. Like, you know, it's got very few scenes that I would have done anything differently on. I mean, there's things that I would still like to tweak, but it's probably.
I think everybody wants to keep tweaking their film as long as they can, and you know that you do. You have like, you know, you did some really like fun bits, and like, you know, there were some really fun scenes, and like that's so interesting that you had a pickup and you used your backyard and it was seamless, because that doesn't always work, and you know that's amazing that
it's hard to do.
Yeah, and that you were able to figure it all out, and it took the process, and you know, totally wonderful that, you know, your family was involved, and that you found some great people to be involved in this thing, even though it was a 1.5-year long process.
Yeah.
So, and I do wish you the best, and you know, for the film. I really like seeing you there, Olivia. So that's really wonderful, and I think you might make a potential producer one day for it. So I'm just gonna wrap up, and like, you know, is there any kind of like social media that people should be following you to know more about the film, about yourself, or you know, so anything else you wanted to give a shout out, or even a shout out, thank you for anybody you want to give a shout out to who worked on the film and was like somebody that you just want to acknowledge?
Oh, here we go. Now if I leave anybody out. What's that?
Do you have your list somewhere?
Yeah, really. Of course, my son, is over at his mom, so, you know, shout out to him. My daughter did an amazing job.
Shout out to him.
My mom and dad are both in heaven, and I want to shout out to them because they, you know, they put me in the spot where I could, you know, where I could do all this great stuff, and I really learned a lot from both of them. Of course, we have Brett James, was our music producer. He did an outstanding job and is now one of my best friends. He's out in California. And then Vitor Moraes, we did all of our Foley down in Brazil. We hired them through Facebook, speaking of social media. Of course, all the actors, Santo Cortolo, Ciro Dobrik, Brett James.
Mop man.
I said Brett James, Brett Engel. Dean Roshli was our mop man and helped behind the scenes. Kyle Barnett did all he helped create the ice cream sandwich on top of the Huncha Muncha truck. Good friend of mine. He's also the hang gliding. We call him Hang Glide Howie. He's the hang glider instructor. All the different locations. I mean, there's just so many. Jillian Chiapones, Jillian Chiapones with the mom, Christina Maria Day, I Spy. I feel like I could just go on, and I always forget to say somebody, and then after this, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to have a meltdown for 5 minutes about all the people that I forgot. Addison Rex was the train conductor. And so social media, I don't want to forget, I know we mentioned this, but distribution. We're looking for it. Come to us, distributors, universe. Come, you know, follow, but you can search The Terrible Adventure. We have like the first few pages are all media and press that have covered our film. And then you'll also find us at theterribleadventure.com. You search Facebook for The Terrible Adventure, Facebook / The Terrible Adventure. We're active on Instagram, all the various, you know, social media and all of that is all in place. So yeah, I think that's kind of, we of course want to give a shout out to you, Ruby Lopez, and the Awareness Film Festival. Thank you so much for doing what you guys do. Very exciting that y'all are in your film festival out of Los Angeles. And I love that you give films that have a message a place. So we really appreciate that.
No, we really appreciate you like applying to the film festival, and we really enjoyed your film. It's a favorite for a number of the people working. So
yay!
It's a very fun film, and like I love family films, and I think you did a wonderful job. I think you have that you mixed how you created it with a message, both for environmental and leadership. I think is amazing, and that it's necessary to show smart kids out there, and then you definitely show like smart kids who can change the world. So I think that's a wonderful message, and it was very well done. So
thank you so much.
On behalf of the Awareness Film Festival, we thank you for coming. Your film will be on demand the next day. So anybody out there, please watch the film, and hopefully you get distribution. I wish you all the best. Enjoy the festival, and more good things to both of you. And looking forward to see what else we come up with in the next couple of years. So
thank you, Ruby. Thank you so much.
And have a great day.
I don't know. There we go.